The San Diego Sheriff's Department says their criminal investigation into former Mayor Bob Filner's actions is now over.
I'm not saying that if somebody came forward down the road with new allegations, we wouldn't look into them. But as far as this investigation, what we have right now, we're closed.
Sheriff Bill Gore says by the end of the investigation, 5 detectives were working the case full-time. They interviewed about 90 people. That includes potential victims and witnesses. The sheriff's dedicated phone line for Filner allegations has also been shut down. The department says, though, they got more than 200 calls in a 3-month period. Well, we've been talking about it all morning. A stunning change of heart from former San Diego Mayor Bob Filner as he pleads guilty to several charges relating to the sexual harassment case against him. On the day Filner was charged in a criminal complaint filed by the state attorney general's office, the former mayor appeared in court to change his plea to guilty. Attorney Anna Yum joins us now to discuss what happens next for Mr. Filner, and what an interesting day it was to see this all unfold, Anna. One thing I want to get to is the plea bargain. We're going to talk about what is next for Mr. Filner. What does he do now? What is his life going to be like? In this plea bargain, 3 months home confinement, no time behind bars as long as he follows all of these rules.
Exactly.
He'll go through mental health counseling, and he gives up his mayoral pension.
Right.
What's happening right now? What's happening today for him?
Well, you know what, Courtney? I had an opportunity to read the plea bargain as well as the complaint and his change of plea with all his initials and the addendum. And it's really interesting to me because obviously, in my opinion, I think something happened before we got to the arraignment. And the reason I say that is because in high-profile cases, people don't just plead guilty at the arraignment, okay? You enter a not guilty plea and then you go through the judicial process in order to see what kind of plea bargain is going to be established, or if you go to trial.
Especially with the way we saw him acting and speaking out and saying that he never sexually harassed anybody.
Right. This leads me to believe that perhaps there were other charges in the future, and maybe there was some sort of agreement between him and the Attorney General's office as to saying, look, if you plead to these counts now, and if you don't make these victims go through the processes, maybe we can save you some time, we can save you some punishment in the future. Because if you think about it, everything is sexual in nature, but he never pled to any kind of sexual battery.
Right.
And sexual battery causes someone to register as a sex offender for the rest of their life.
Interesting. Okay, so that is the change
exactly.
there. Okay.
And so for him, he pled to 2 counts of simple battery and felony false imprisonment. And in my experience, Courtney, in prosecuting cases and defending cases now, this kind of conduct on its face with someone who has no criminal history, it's very difficult to say that that's necessarily felonious conduct. So I think a lot of people were surprised at obviously the non-sexual battery type of situation and the fact that he pled to a felony. I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, that is an excellent point. So this doesn't start until December, his plea bargain. What happens to Bob Filner in the future? What can he do? What can he not do at this point?
Right. Well, his sentencing is going to be December 9th, as you mentioned, and really he's on a tight leash because, right, he's a convicted felon. And when you are on felony probation or formal probation, you are walking a tight rope. You have to comply with the terms of probation. And right now, he may not have been sentenced to any jail time, but there's 6 months stayed on his sentence. So that means if he doesn't comply with the terms of probation, if he violates new laws, that 6-month sentence can be dropped down on him. So he really has to be careful about what he does in the next 6 months, and not only 6 months, but the next 3 years, because that's how long his probationary period is. And he really has to focus on the things that are required of him pursuant to this negotiated disposition.
You know, Bob has always said that he enjoys being a part of public service and helping those that need it most. Can he get involved in public service at this point?
Not according to this plea agreement, because I'm looking at the addendum right here and it says, agree not to seek or hold public office, which is a bold term of probation. I mean, that's something I was floored by. I mean, it's one of those things where I think, again, there was supposed to be a grand jury indictment. I think that a number of alleged victims were subpoenaed for purposes of this indictment. And I think it was one of those things where, again, the AG's office may have approached him from before and said, please
this is
do
what
this,
we'll offer you.
or there's a lot more coming.
Very interesting. Well, I'm sure more details will come out. We appreciate you coming in. We certainly appreciate your expertise. So lots of points that you brought up this morning. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
All right, let's get over to Kimmy. We made it to Wednesday, and